Perfect, thank you very much for joining me. Yes, my name is Sean and you're watching MLS Ireland does predictions. One of those things. It's week 9. Let's go. Excellent, thank you very much for joining me. Yes, my name is Sean and you're watching MLS Ireland does predictions. And if you're new to this channel, hit that subscribe button. What can I say? Week 9, we're going there, we're getting into this thing, aren't we? We're doing very well. My predictions are actually doing quite well too, as well, not to toot my own horn, but yeah, starting to do a bit better, so I might as well crack on for the first game, because half of these videos now are starting to become about 13 or 14 minutes, and I would presume that's probably a wee bit too much for a lot of people to watch this, really, and to listen to it. So I may as well crack on with the first one, which is Houston Dynamo against Austin FC. Now Austin now are second in the league, which is pretty impressive for a team only a year or so old, when many people didn't really have many high hopes, to be fair. They're obviously second in the Western, but second in the Supporters' Shield, so pretty impressive. They're coming up against the Houston Dynamo team, who got beaten by Dallas on the 23rd, which was last week, so it's not a great result for them, albeit Dallas is actually doing very well in the last 6. Never mind, I'll get on to that later on. Against Houston, who are 11th, they lost, as I said, they got beaten by Dallas, but have a pretty good record since then, prior to that. So I'm going for like a 2-2 draw on this one. I think this is going to be a good Texas derby. It's not going to be a TV here, but I will probably get to watch it because it's going to be on quite early. I think 6:30 or so. So I'm looking forward to that one. The next one is Toronto against FC Cincinnati. Now Toronto we're starting to get into the swing of things. They're scoring goals, which is a good thing. They're conceding a lot as well. Saying that, New York City, I predicted last week 2-1, and they got beat 5-4. So they got beaten by 1, so it was kind of correct. But they're coming up against the Cincinnati team, who aren't bottom, but they're not doing all that great. They got beat by LAFC, drew against Atlanta. They're not doing too bad. So they're getting kind of into these things, but I think Toronto is kind of going to be on a nice reign of form and all that kind of nonsense people say. So I'm going to go for like a 2-0 win to Toronto, just for the fact is they're starting to score goals. I don't think Cincinnati have too much in them to really score many goals. I know they scored 9 this season, but they conceded way too many, 16. So scored 9. And Toronto scored 15 and then led in 17. So it's going to be a good, interesting game. But I think Toronto at home should be a good result for them. The next one is Real Salt Lake against LA Galaxy. Now this one, Real Salt Lake was kind of surprising. They haven't really won much this season. They've drew 4 and only won the 3 and lost 2. Scored 9 and conceded 13. So that's not that great. They're coming up against the LA Galaxy team, who are 4th and doing quite well. And they've only lost it twice and drew once. So out of 8 games, it's not bad. So I'm going to go for like a 1-0 win to LA Galaxy, just for the fact is it's going to be a tight game. I think it's kind of like an old OG MLS kind of thing, so I'm actually looking forward to this one. I think this one is actually going to be on TV, so I'm looking forward to that. So Real Salt Lake at home is probably going to give LA Galaxy a tough game. That's what I'm trying to say. The next one is Montreal. I think I pronounced that correct, against Atlanta. Now Montreal is a strange team so far this season. They're kind of like basically mid-table. They haven't lost many in the last 4 or 5. They drew against Philadelphia there last week, which is not a bad result. At home, they beat Vancouver as the last home game. Now they're coming up against the Atlanta team, who got beaten by Inter, which is kind of a shocker. Inter starting out to kind of get into things, and I think I got that one correct. But anyway, I'm going to go for a Montreal win. I'm going to go for a 2-1. I think Joseph Martinez and Brad Guzan being out of the team, among others, are going to starting to bite at Atlanta, and I think they're just not going to cope with it all that well, so I'm going to go for like a 2-1 to Montreal. And the next one is Columbus Crew against DC United. Now Columbus Crew started off the season quite well and then just fell off a cliff. Not good, is it? Again, it's going to be an interesting game. DC United sacked their manager, won big against New England. Well, New England's struggling too, but it still is New England. So I'm going to go for like a DC United 2-1 win. Just for the fact is DC United are kind of on that bounce, whereas Crew are not really. I don't see Columbus Crew are a strange team. They should possibly win this game. They are at home. They should really win this game. But I think DC United probably may have a wee bit more in it, if you know what I mean. Something like that. So I'm going to go for I'm going to go for 2-1. It may mean more, that's what I mean. The next one is New England Revolution against Inter. Now, this one's a trickier one. Inter now are actually beat them 4 weeks ago, at the start of the month. 3-2. Now they're coming up to New England, up to Boston or Foxborough, or wherever the hell that stadium is. Not where it's supposed to be. So they're going up there. Should be an interesting one. As I said, Inter Miami beat New England to kind of get onto the switch form of beating Seattle in Seattle, then beating Atlanta. So that's not a bad result. And they're going on to New England. I do think this is going to be a good one. I think New England should now start to find a more of a rhythm. I know they got beaten by DC United, but they're scoring more goals. I think this is going to be like a 2-2. I think the New England team should probably at home should have a good result in this one, but I think they're going to concede because they don't have a good goalkeeper anymore, and Inter Miami are not letting Higuain play. So but I think Higuain may start this one for some weird reason. But anyway, the next one is Orlando against Charlotte. Now Orlando started off the season quite okay. Then they started to kind of lost one or two games. Lost one game. And then kind of got on the rich form, got on. Then they got beat by Red Bulls 3-0. Now they're coming up against a Charlotte team who are very good at home, but not that great away from home. So this is their third away game on the trot, and they're coming up against a good team. So I'm going to go for like a 1-0 win to Orlando. Just Orlando at home against a team who don't really win away from home. So watch them probably win, to be fair. But still, I'm going to go for like a 1-0 win to Orlando. I think Pato may get that one goal. So if you ever want to take a wee sneaky one into that one. Okay, perfect. Yes, I know why I'm on my mobile phone, but I've kind of missed the New York Red Bulls game against Chicago Fire. So, I'm kind of halfway doing my video edit and I can't remember. So I might as well crack on with it and get it out of the way, which is New York Red Bull is good away from home. Chicago Fire not very good at home. They're very good at not conceding that much. Red Bulls are actually doing very well in scoring. All things said, it should be a good, interesting game. I can't remember what I picked, but I do think it is probably around New York Red Bulls actually beating Chicago Fire. 2-1 win to New York Red Bulls, because they're probably a better team. They're very good away from home, so I do think New York Red Bulls should probably win this 1-1. So New York Red Bulls for a good wee victory. And back to the video. The next one is actually Sporting Kansas City, who are not doing very well, coming up against the FC Dallas team, who are doing very, 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 very well. FC Dallas haven't lost much in the last 6, which is pretty impressive. They drew 2, to be fair, and those both were away games. Now they're coming up against the Sporting Kansas City team, who, in my mind, I kind of went, this should be an easy one for Sporting Kansas City. Then I kind of looked at Dallas's record, kind of thinking, they're going to be 12. They're 5th. So my first prediction wasn't great, so I'm going to change that to a 1-1. I think Sporting Kansas City will probably try and make it tough for them. I think FC Dallas are the better team, but their away record doesn't really fill me with much hope. And I think Sporting Kansas City are very good at home, so I think that's what I'm going to go for. I'm going to just go for like a 1-1. I don't think they're going to walk away with it, Sporting Kansas City, but at home I think they should probably get a result out of it. So I'm going to go for a 1-1. The next one is Colorado Rapids against Portland. Now, Colorado Rapids, like many teams, done okay at the start of the season and then fell off a cliff. I know it's only 8 games in, but they're 22nd, which is not great. They got beaten by Dallas and Minnesota, so that's not great. Now they're coming against a Portland team who are... I did actually take a wee while to figure out where they were in the standings not so long ago when I was doing the predictions, but they're like 15th, so they're not too bad, but their record at the moment isn't great. So I think I'm going to go for a Colorado Rapids 2-0 win. Sorry, Portland, but I think Colorado Rapids probably are a more stronger team. Portland Timbers are just all over the place and very inconsistent. This is a game where I always said last year Portland should win this one. and then they lose. This is a game where Portland should probably lose, and then they win. So this is the kind of game where you think Portland should probably get a good result in this one, but Colorado at home, probably not. 2-0. So the next one is New York City FC against San Jose Earthquakes. Now, this is probably going to be a good all-goal scoring game, or probably like a 0-0. New York City have scored 11 goals in the last 2 games, so that's pretty impressive. They come up against the San Jose Earthquakes team, who have the worst record in the league of conceding goals with 20. So I'm going to go for like a 3-1 win. Just New York City at home against San Jose Earthquakes, who have to travel. It's not going to be easy for them, so I'm going to go for like a 3-1 win. The next one is Nashville against Philadelphia. This one's actually going to be a trickier one. What did I see? I think Nashville aren't doing all that great this season, but I think that's just because teams have kind of figured them out. They've only won the 3, lost 3, and drew 2, which isn't too bad, but they conceded more than they scored. They need to start scoring more goals. I do think they're going to score a goal in this one, so I went for like a 1-1. I think Philadelphia are capable of winning this game, but their away record this season hasn't been great. They got beaten by Toronto and then drew against Montreal last week, which isn't a great result for them. So I'm going to go for a 1-0. I think that's a proper game. It's going to be on TV here too. Get to see that. That's Nashville's first home game of their brand new stadium too, so this is going to be a good one. But I think Philadelphia are a better team, but I think the occasion is probably going to get a good result for Nashville. So I'm going to go for like a 1-0. But granted, this game could go anyway. And now the last one is LAFC against Minnesota. Now the team number 1, LAFC, obviously, coming up against the Minnesota team who are 7th, which is not too bad. Beating Colorado, beating Chicago. Chicago being a very defensive team. You know, when they bought a very experienced striker, forward kind of person. Attacker. I'll go with attacker. But anyway, Minnesota, a very good team, but they're going to LA. LA have only been beaten once this season. That was a LA Galaxy game, 2-1, which really they probably could have won, to be fair. But anyway, I'm going to go for like a 2-1 win to LAFC to beat Minnesota, just for the fact is they are number 1. There's a reason why they're number 1, and I do think them and LA Galaxy are starting to do very well this season. I think it is going to be a Western Conference team is going to be winning this Border Shield this season. So it could be LAFC. So, yep. Those were my predictions. Hope you enjoyed them. If you stood on to this long, which I doubt it. But anyway, I hope to see you on the next one. Bye now.